It is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer, along for the ride as well. We've now had baseball around for a week. I mean, it's been around a lot longer than that, but I'm talking about the 2025 season here in the States, the whole bit. And we got people panicking all over the place and excited and all sorts of stuff. We'll try and talk people off the ledge if they're there today, right?
It seems like it's been polarizing. There are some teams that are definitely panicking. Some teams are celebrating. Then you got the Padres who are like feeling good, but also like, what the heck? How are we not in first place right now?
Oh, we'll get to all that stuff. But first, we're going to start with a tip of the cap to a Cardinals catcher who made a little history on Wednesday.
2 pitches and a high drive by Herrera. It's a 3-homer game way into Big Mac land.
That's right, Ivan Herrera, in the 144-year history of that franchise, catcher had never had a 3-homer game. So good for him.
I wonder how many franchises have had a catcher with a 3-homer game.
It's a good question.
There's got to be a way to look that up, but that's not an easy thing to do. 3-homer games are rare, especially from a catcher. So the Cardinals have looked great. I was actually watching some of that game. A couple bunts back to back to load the bases after a Jordan Walker single. Then you had Herrera kind of like sealing the deal. Arenado playing some defense. Like, are the Cardinals? Are they going to surprise everybody?
I'll answer that in a few weeks. In the meantime, we'll just give him a tip of the cap. Okay, so good for him. All right. The show was put to bed thinking, the Braves are going to get their first win of the year. Dodgers are going to suffer their first loss. But no. You know why? Because it was Shohei Ohtani bobblehead day at Dodger Stadium. So, of course, he had to leave us with this.
High fly ball to center field. Harris is back. Ohtani! Inevitable!
Just looking for a really good pitch to hit. But one of the fans was telling me, it's your bobblehead night, so you better get a hit. So I'm glad I was able to do that.
Oh, the awareness of the most talented player in the history of this sport. There's that bobblehead that people were lining up 8 hours early for. Little did they know, I think that everybody who actually attended the game got the bobblehead regardless. So that was good for them. People always say, well, you guys talk about them too much. You talk about the Dodgers too much. What the hell are we supposed to say when they're the first defending champ in history to start the following season 8-0?
Chris, I was watching this game, and it felt inevitable. Even though the Braves got up to that early lead, even though, they had Raisel Iglesias ready in the wings, bringing him in early, it just felt inevitable. Max Muncy hits that double. I think that was a 2-strike pitch. He gets the job done. And then, Ohtani on his bobblehead night. I don't know if Dan can bring that video back up, but that was on the black away. Tailing away from him. And he just is able to, if he gets the barrel on the ball, it seems like it goes. Like the ability for him to put his energy into the baseball is, it's one of the best in baseball. And that was, again, it just felt inevitable. And the Dodgers kind of feel inevitable. So it makes a lot of sense. But to do it on your bobblehead night, there's nothing better, man. He seems like he steps up in those big moments almost every single time. And I do think it is funny because I did see that online, people lining up that early to get his bobblehead, and then they announced that everybody was going to get one. That's tough.
We're laughing, but I guarantee you, people took a half day off of work or something.
People were lining up at 6 a.m, Chris. And then what do? Do you get out of line and leave, or do you just stay there?
Just tell somebody, "Hey, hold my spot," and then you just go for the rest. And then I'm gonna walk into Dodger Stadium.
There are people that do that. I think there are professional line sitters for these releases.
So.
Yeah, there's a service for that.
So I have been thinking about this because there's only so many different ways you can talk, I think, about the Dodgers and Ohtani. Do we have to put in a set of rules as are there parameters for when it's okay to discuss him or them on this show?
What I've realized in my, 5+ years of covering baseball now, especially on, YouTube and social media, is that you can't please everybody, Chris. Dodger fans are mad that we haven't talked about them enough. And the other fans say you talk about them too much. So whatever. I think we do a good job spreading the love around on this show, but yeah, there are going to be times where we have no choice but to talk about Shohei and the Dodgers. I mean, this team, like I said before the season, it's probably one of the best rosters ever assembled in the sport. Like, guys, we got to talk about this team.
I'll even say this. I don't think they're playing great baseball. And this is going to sound weird, but they haven't had Mookie. They missed him a few games, obviously, because of the illness. Now, Freddie's slipping in the shower, and they've missed him several games. I think he's missed more games than he's played in. The pitching has been outstanding for the most part. Really, really great. The hitting has been like they've hit a lot of home runs, but other than that, they haven't done great things. So it just feels like there's more room. I'd be curious. You know what? Leave us a comment in the section. Are you sick of people when we talk about the Dodgers? Ohtani? Do we not do it enough? I'm curious. I really want to know where people sit on this whole thing. I'll be fascinated to find out. Why I shouldn't have said that?
I don't know. They're going to let you know whether you ask for it or not, Chris.
I'm asking. So I just, we're a show that is always morphing into something new.
People are mad at me for saying Profar, did something wrong. I don't know.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. He did do something wrong. And we know it, too. Accidentally.
I don't want to get started.
Okay, let's move on to this. Reason I'm wearing Jake Snake's hat. Ketel Marte, a 6-year, $116.5 million extension, replaces his old 5 for $76 that he signed with the team back in 2022. Meanwhile, one of Boston's kids is signed and sealed with less than a week of service time. Kristian Campbell gets 8 for $60. Which pen-to-paper move caught your attention a little bit more?
I guess I understand both of them. I think the Kristian Campbell one caught my attention a little bit more. Obviously, you mentioned he's been in the big leagues for a week, and I actually like it for him. He wasn't like a super high draft pick. He got $500,000 out the draft, which is very nice. But essentially, this is his contract that he's going to get in the big leagues. I believe if they pick up all the options, he'd be a free agent again at 33, I think is the number. And yeah, he can get another deal after that, but he's securing the bag, Chris. And, he did obviously, I think it's bought out for sure 2 years of free agency, 2 team options after that. So it can end up being 4 years of his free agency. So that's kind of the trade-off there is, hey, you're giving up those years where you can choose where to go. But obviously he feels comfortable in this organization. They feel comfortable with him. And yeah, now he's got, he's secured his family for, generations to come. I like that one, but, you just don't see that happen too often. We've seen, Chourio got it. Was that last year? They did that deal with him before he even had a week of service time. And now Campbell, who we've heard about a ton through spring training.
Are you talking about Rafaela?
Excuse me?
You talking about Rafaela or Jackson?
No, I'm talking about Chourio.
Okay, yeah.
With the Brewers.
Yeah, but Rafaela also got it for Boston. Remember, he got a $50 million extension. So
I mean, I that one caught my eye a little bit more. The Marte one seems to be more of like a little bit of payroll relief for the Diamondbacks. I believe they were able to defer a little bit more money. He's making less money this year. So, there's some of those effects. And that one also, I'm always surprised when teams kind of go out of their way to keep guys longer. Like he's obviously under team control for a couple more years. So they could have waited 2 seasons before they started talking about the extension. But I believe it was more of let's figure the books out situation. And in doing that, let's keep this guy around is obviously a cornerstone for the franchise. So they both made sense for me, but I think the Campbell one caught my eye a little more.
I'm more fascinated, and it's the reason I'm wearing the Diamondbacks hat, by the Marte one. I really am, because the other one with Campbell isn't going to make or break a Boston franchise, right? It wasn't even the biggest, most important extension that they got done within the last week. That went to Garrett Crochet, because when you're talking about $175 million or whatever it was, compared to 60, even though the kid has less than a week of service time, I'm going to pay more attention to that one. But with Marte, I understand about the financial relief side of things. That makes sense. But you had him locked and loaded till he was 34. And at that point, I don't know, would he still be an peak second baseman? I think it's fair to say that he's the best second baseman in the league, wouldn't you?
Sheesh. Yeah.
I think he's the best second baseman in the league. When you factor everything into it, he's the best one. He's going to be 32 in July, so this is his late 30s. Since 2019, he's had 3 seasons with an OPS over 900. That's pretty damn impressive. In the same span, Altuve's had 2. Marcus Semien has had 0. I know Altuve is now a former second baseman, but you catch my drift. The only problem I would say, and it could be a big problem, is that Marte has had a lot of injuries, and particularly south of the equator. He's had ankle injuries. He's had hip injuries. He's had a groin injury. He's been on the injured list 7 times in his career. You don't get healthier when you get into your late 30s. So if you're still going to be paying somebody, a decent amount of money, that could be a real issue. That could be a real issue.
Yeah, I really think they just see this as a way for them. I believe they're going to clear up $10 million over the next 3 years, $5 million this year off the book. So maybe that's their way of saying this is our window. Let's go after it. We got Gallen, we got Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be free agents. Gino's going to be a free agent. Like, let's go and maybe free up some money for the trade deadline or something. There's a lot going on with this extension. Now you got me thinking about best second baseman, Andres Gimenez, playing second base right now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he's up there.
Filthy. I mean, he's not the same, although he's off to a great start. He's nowhere close to the same stick that Marte is, but he's also the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion.
Third extension for Marte? Like, some guys just get extensions, dude.
Right.
I begged for an extension, never got one.
It's the third one since he's joined Arizona. Remember, he started his career in Seattle, and then
golly, man.
He's had a good career. Really,
he's had a great career. I'm happy for him. It's just some of these guys are extension magnets.
Mm-hmm. Good for him.
Yeah.
Speaking of extensions, the Padres extended their winning streak to 7-0. Jackson Merrill continues to do it. He homers yet again. That's on the same day where Padres made it official, giving him a 9-year, $135 million extension. So the Padres sweep Cleveland. Before taking it to Guardians pitching, Merrill took direct aim, or at least it sounded like it, by somebody who might have called San Diego home a few years ago.
Listen, I know there's contracts out there that are beyond absurd. They're super amounts of money, but having a relationship with a real human being and a real team like I have here, you can't beat that, You can't just sign for $700 million and want everything to be perfect, I got people all around the clubhouse that are supporting me, supporting my family. They ask about my personal life every day, so I'm just gracious for that, and I know it's going to be the same way for the next 9 years.
What'd you think when you first heard that?
Okay, so yeah, it sounds bad, but this is what I think really is going on. I think that he's had plenty of discussions with his agent, with his family over the last probably couple months. This didn't just come together all of a sudden. They've been talking about this. I think a lot of the time that's what you talk about. Hey, if you want to sign an extension, we're probably going to give up money, or at least the possibility to earn more money on the back end. And a lot of times when you go into these talks, guys will think about, well, what do I really want? What's really important to me? And one of the selling points or to sign the deal would be like, hey, we're really comfortable here. It feels like a family. This is what you want. You're going to get paid, obviously, a lot of money. But like I said, you're probably giving away the opportunity to make more on the back end, but it feels like home here. So I think those discussions were happening, and I don't think it was a slight at Juan Soto. I don't, because he wasn't even there when he signed his extension. He got traded from San Diego. He didn't leave San Diego, or he didn't sign away from San Diego. Do you know what I mean?
He specifically said $700 million contract.
Shohei signed for $700. Juan Soto signed for $800.
Yeah. Okay.
So is he talking about Shohei?
He signed for $765, and it's going to be $800 million.
Just saying. I really don't think it was a slight at anybody. I think he was having those discussions, and he kind of regurgitated some of those discussions.
I don't know, man. It sure as hell. We all know, and in fact, I've talked to some of the Padres organization that Soto, for the time he was there, knew he was a hired gun. He knew it. He knew he wasn't going to sign an extension there. Now, when he became a free agent, is there the possibility he could have gone back to San Diego? There's that possibility. But he knew that each of his last two stops, once he got traded from Washington, San Diego and the Yankees, that he was there for very, very short span, that he was always going to test for. There was the possibility he then could have gone back to the Bronx, but he knew it that he wasn't going to put down firm footing anywhere. We weren't going to have the opportunity on this show to discuss, while he's still in uniform, a Juan Soto discussion. And Jackson Merrill made that point. He made that point that it's not all about me eventually going out and making sure that I've got this and that and the other thing. Like, I'm good being a 21-year-old center fielder and not being the star of the team, although I think he's going to be one day.
I agree with everything you said. I don't think it was necessarily pointed at Juan Soto. Again, I think it was just conversations that were brought up. I really don't. I mean, I don't know how the relationship was there. I've heard stuff about the relationship with the Padres, but again, you think he's going to, like, a press conference where this guy signs a life-changing deal is going to make it a point to dig at Soto? I don't know, man. Again, I think he had just had those discussions about, hey, this is where you want to be. It feels like home. They treat you like a family. You know, it's better than going and chasing more money down the road. I think those discussions were had, and he was just talking about that. I really do.
Which would have been perfectly fine if he had just said that. Dan, I want you to get the soundbite back up if you can real quickly.
Listen, I know like there's contracts out there that are beyond absurd. They're super amounts of money, but having a relationship with a real human being and a real team like I have here, you can't beat that, you know? You can't just sign for $700 million and want everything to be perfect, you know? I got people all around the clubhouse that are supporting me, supporting my family, you know? They ask for my personal life every day, so.
You can't just sign for $700 million and expect everything to be perfect.
Do you think Shohei raised his hand? He's like, look at me.
Yeah.
I did it.
By the way, and this is a little off the beaten path, and it's funny. It's like, it's the comical part of fandom. Like when Soto struck out the first day as a Met against Hader with the game on the line, and was obviously, there were some people in social media that were like, haha, look how miserable he looks and all this sort of stuff. I'm going to let you know, Juan Soto, I'm going to guess, ain't miserable. He's got $800 million coming his way. As long as he stays upright, he's walking into Cooperstown, and he's already got a ring. I imagine he is doing just fine, no matter what anybody says, no matter what we think that Jackson Merrill is or isn't saying. I'm guessing Juan Soto's fine.
He's fine. I actually, can we bring the original sound up? Hold on. So on the homer, we get away from all this talk. On the homer, Orsillo reacts before, like, the ball's even off of the bat. You can hear him go, ooh. Can we bring that back up?
You want to hear the home run call
as he drives this one to right field.
Let's see if there's any sound
today.
Let's see if Dan can do this on the fly. All right.
Press conference as he drives this one to right field. Back goes Jones, looking up, the ball's gone. Jackson Merrill and his new extension is just today. Press conference as he drives this one to right field.
Actually, so I think that's Mud. That's Mud Grant.
I don't know which one it was, but they were like, it's hard not to do that when you're in the booth and someone hits a freaking tank job like that. It's just, you want to react.
That's great.
That was funny.
They're one of the most entertaining teams, those two. Really, really good. Awesome stuff. All right, let's move on. Make it 6 straight games with an extra base hit for Elio Ramos. On fire, huh? Giants sweep the Astros in Houston off to a 5-1 start. Meanwhile, Jays take care of business north of the border. They take 3 from the visiting Nats and improve to 5-2. Which big spender but underproducing team in seasons past do you think will actually make some noise this year?
Shout out the Blue Jays. Shout out my guy Tyler Heineman. He ended the series on a throw him out. He's actually played really well at the beginning of the season. I'm going to go with the Giants. And, I think over the last couple of seasons, they've been very difficult to kind of like project and And part of that's because the Dodgers have been in the division, and I feel like the Padres have also, kind of been in their way as well. But when we talked about them in the offseason, we said there's a team there with a bunch of like good players. Can that turn into like a magical season? Can Elliot Ramos be that guy? Like, is Lee going to, jump into a different like stratosphere? Are we going to see him as a superstar in the league? Like, things have to happen. And now I feel like the way I'm thinking about the Giants now is they're just like a very, very solid ball club, and they have a chance to really reel off some wins. I don't think they've committed an error yet through 6 games. So defensively, we knew they were going to be very good. With the addition that left side of the infield can be as good as anybody in the big leagues. So that's what they've done. 30 runs scored, 16 runs against. The starting pitching has been good. The bullpen's been excellent. And like the bats have been okay. Like Ramos has been great.
Wilmer Flores
has been great. He's healthy now this year. So if we see like an uptick in offense and we see these guys really get going, like I think this team could be like very, very competitive. And I know we don't like to do this, but like if put them in the AL Central, where do they rank? Like,
well, right now they rank
they rank above everybody because everyone's 2 and 4 in the Central. But like, like they've been overshadowed by a couple different teams, maybe 3 teams. I forgot about the Diamondbacks. I mean, because of the division they're in, I feel like they get overlooked, and I'm guilty of that as well. But watching them play this year, then kind of seeing the roster and who they've brought in, like it's a pretty damn solid roster, Chris. So I'll go with the Giants for my answer on this one.
I've got them too. I think they're really interesting. We talked about this opening day of the season a week ago, where we asked whether or not we felt like the Giants could surpass the Padres this year. We both felt like it was a possibility. A lot of things have to go right. I still look at the depth of their lineup, and I don't love it. I don't. They're going to have to pitch their way to victory, and they can with this rotation. I do believe it's good enough. They're off to their first 5-1 start since 2014.
What happened in 2014?
Mad Bum came out of the bullpen in Kansas City and won it all.
Catching the ball in foul territory.
I was flying home from Game 7 of the World Series while that was happening. I flew from Kansas City. I'd been on the road for like 10 days. I wanted to get home, so I did not even stay in the stadium for Game 7 of the World Series. But I had to have a connection from Kansas City to Dallas. I have a layover. They're calling last call to get on the plane to Los Angeles, and it's the 9th inning, and Alex Gordon had just hit that triple. Remember?
Oh yeah, he almost could have scored.
Yeah, I think it was Jerschley. Was that the third base coach's name that held him? Something like that. A veteran third base guy held him at third, and then I think it was Salvi who popped out to Pablo to end it.
Yep.
So I just saw it at one of those restaurants, bars in the DFW airport and hopped on the plane. I remember that. Last year, the Astros got one 3-game road series sweep, and it happened in game 156 of the season. Now they've got it, series 2 of the year, so it's good. I think they'll be interesting, and I love the Adames signing from this standpoint. He hasn't hit worth shit yet. He is awesome energy. I really believe that's part of the reason they paid him that 182, and I think that's going to make a huge difference for them.
I'll agree with you there. And people can say, oh, you're paying a guy for energy. It is a rare thing in a baseball clubhouse to have somebody with energy like him.
Mm-hmm.
And it is worth a lot. Like showing up and having a guy that is in a good mood, just bringing that like helps everybody out. Because there are times, man, where you just feel like you don't want to be at the park. It's monotonous. You're struggling, whatever it is. And you got a guy like Willie. For us, it was like Eddie Escobar or Torrey Hunter was like the best at that. I couldn't believe it. 41, I think he was when I played with him, how much energy he had. It does mean something. I will disagree with you. I think their lineup is longer than a lot of people give them credit for. I think there's a lot of solid major league hitters in that lineup up and down 1 through 9. I do.
Okay. I'm not super excited about it, but we'll see. Maybe they can get me on that one. And you're right about I can see it just covering the sport for 3 decades. people think that, well, he got $182 million. Of course he should be happy every day. That ain't it. I've seen plenty of grumpy motherfuckers in a clubhouse that make a lot of coin.
Yeah, it's difficult, man. And again, like that's just it means a lot when somebody comes and you're, especially if it's a veteran guy like that who has signed with the money, and you're like, oh, this guy still cares. He's still putting the work in. He's still smiling. Like I got to do that too.
Yep.
It makes you, that's a guy that everybody wants to be like, dude.
All right. 4 aces, flat out nasty on Wednesday. Holy smokes, were they good. Started with a day game in Tampa. Paul Skenes, 7 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. The thing with him that is so impressive, no walks. I feel like I say that every time he goes out and pitches. He got his first win of the year. Garrett Crochet, fresh off that $170+ million extension, 8 shutout innings in Baltimore. First time he threw a pitch in the 8th inning, I believe. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. Damn good job. Zach Wheeler keeps rolling for the Philadelphia Phillies. 7 innings, 1 solo home run, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, no walks against the Colorado Rockies. He's probably the best pitcher we don't spend enough time talking about on this show. And then there's another Zach, different spelling, Zach Gallen in the boogie down, a career-high 13 strikeouts, no walks for him in 6 2/3 shutout innings, 3 hits. Which of those 4 guys is finishing with the best statistical season?
I hate these questions.
It's a good one, though. Isn't that a good one?
It's probably Paul Skenes. If I really had to put money on it, I would say Paul Skenes. Here's the thing. Zach Gallen's my favorite pitcher to watch out of those 4. I just love watching him throw. I love the pitchability. I just feel like he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of hitters, setting them up, and just I don't know. There's something about watching him that makes me happy. I'll say Zach Wheeler though, because like he said, I don't think we spent enough time on what he's done, what he's meant to that franchise. Probably one of their best free agent signings ever, coming over from the Mets, and what he's done over there. Last year led the National League in WHIP, which is my favorite status for a pitcher, standing out there. I don't want you to put base runners on for no reason. Ended last year with a .955 WHIP, like I said, to lead the National League. So I'm all over the place. Skenes probably has the best statistical season. I like watching Zach Gallen the most, but I'm going to guess for the sake of the show, Zach Wheeler.
So I've got my 2 Cy Young Award winners out of this foursome. I've got Skenes and I got Crochet, and I agree with you on Wheeler. I had to dig a little bit just to see. I said I can't remember the last time he had a bad start.
Ooh, I'm curious.
So last time he gave up more than 2 earned runs in a game was July of last year. Since then, he has made 18 starts, and that included 1 hit, 7 innings of shutout ball in a playoff game against the Mets. Last year, he was one of only 4 pitchers to log 200 innings. He was 1 strikeout behind Chris Sale for the most in the National League. He's already got 18 in 2 games this year. And he is one of the rare guys that got paid for not what he did with the New York Mets. Remember, the Mets fans were okay.
They were they thought the Phillies were crazy.
Right. And instead, the Phillies paid for what we think we can get out of him. And it has been one of the rare pitching free agent moves where the pitcher has actually outperformed the contract. I think you could make the same argument with Max Scherzer when he went from Detroit to Washington. And there's no question that Zach Wheeler has outperformed his deal with the Philadelphia Phillies.
Now I'm looking at the stats. I don't think it's crazy that Mets fans were
right.
I guess shocked at the sticker price. 100 on the nose, 100 ERA plus over his time with the Mets. But clearly the Phillies saw something, man.
Yeah. I wasn't blaming Mets fans, but they were kind of like, fine, go for it.
Crazy. As soon as he goes to Philly, it's been Cy Young 12, Cy Young 2, Cy Young 6, Cy Young 2. The only one that didn't register was 2022 for some reason. I guess he didn't throw enough innings. He had a 2.82, but only threw 153 innings. What happened that year in the Cy Young? He didn't even get any votes?
Jeez.
Okay.
Well, now let's move on to Paul Skenes' important stuff. He and Livvy. GQ article came out. Look at that. That's just one of many outstanding photos of baseball's most famous couple. Well, of course, he had to address this after throwing 7 amazing innings against the Rays.
Yeah, I didn't know what GQ was until the offer came, so glad I did it, I think. I mean, how'd I look? You guys think I look good? Yeah, sweet.
Livvy and Rue look better, I think, but you did okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, that's what she does. So, yeah. It was fun. It was very fun. It was on the one day in like a million years that it snowed in Baton Rouge. So it kind of worked out perfectly. We got some sweet pictures, but that is not my sphere. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see if I do more of those, but it was a fun day.
I didn't know what GQ was.
Yeah, that's a lie. Come on.
Right? I know he's only 22. This isn't a generational thing. Sawyer, just tell us in our ear. Young Sawyer's an intern. He's probably 21, 22. Did you know what GQ was before Paul Skenes said that, Sawyer? Yes, you knew what GQ was, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's part of like the zeitgeist. Like GQ is almost like a term.
Okay, good. Sawyer, who's the same age as Paul Skenes, knew what GQ was. Sawyer will not be doing a GQ shoot with his girlfriend anytime soon. I don't think. I haven't checked his schedule. Maybe we could see that. John Boy Media intern propels himself into the GQ zeitgeist.
Can I make a prediction? He talked about how, he knows he's going to get a little bit of crap in the locker room, which is like fine. Like nobody's really making fun of him, but of course, like that's just part of boys being boys in the locker room. There's going to be stuff to happen. My prediction, and I haven't talked to him about this, but maybe I'll text him. I think that Andrew McCutchen is going to come one day dressed in one of the outfits to the yard.
Love it.
Probably the one on the piano that I saw with that turtleneck and the glasses.
He should do that for the Pirates home opener.
I would love for them to take a flight. You know how they do like the themed flights? They should do a flight where everyone dresses up in their favorite Paul Skenes GQ outfit.
That is genius. You know what? I might text Derek Shelton on that one. Say we came up with an idea for you. Here you go. You're welcome.
Shelty would look so good in that outfit we're showing on the screen right now.
But if you're in the clubhouse, at minimum, when they have their home, I think their home opener is tomorrow. Let me check the schedule here. Please hold. Sorry. Come on, you weirdo. All right, I'm frozen. Anyway, if it is tomorrow, don't they have to print out like 1,000 pictures of that and put it all over his locker?
I don't know, man. I probably that's happened to me. Delman Young and company did it to me in spring training. Olivia put some pictures of us together when we first started dating. We went parasailing and we're like in our bathing suits and stuff. She puts it on Facebook at the time, and I showed up the next day, and there, like the entire clubhouse, there's pictures of her and I. And I was like, I was a minor leaguer at the time. I was in big league spring training, dude. I was like, Delman, you got to stop this, dude.
That is
I thought it was funny.
Do you still have one of the photos just for keepsake?
They're on Facebook. I don't know. Can you still log into Facebook?
No, but like one of the printed pictures.
Oh, no.
You've saved it just to say?
No.
Come on. That's I love those skits. Those are excellent. Okay, good. Leave us a note. Which one of those 4 aces is having the best season? Please. Leave us a comment. All right. Had a couple of interesting things that happened. We had Mr. OMG, Jose Iglesias, trying to beat out an infield hit. Whoa, tripping all over his own feet, and then somehow popping himself back. All right, not bad for a guy in his 30s. And then, we start out with Ivan Herrera. Great day at the dish, but behind the plate, bang, throwing the ball back to his pitcher, hits the bat of Nicky Lopez, and the bat hits his helmet and ricochets off. So which one was kind of a bigger wow moment for you?
I mean, neither of them are necessarily a wow moment for me. I guess I'm impressed with Jose Iglesias. You mentioned he's in his 30s. Okay, he's only 35. Why do I feel like Jose Iglesias is 40? He's been in the game for a long time, huh?
Yeah.
I've never been able to do this. I don't think you've ever been able to do this either, but I wish I could. Like, that's
Did you
really
just
cool.
say, I think you've never been able to do this? For people that are audio only, it's the one where he's on his back and he kind of propels himself back up to his feet with very little help from his hands.
I used to be pretty athletic, Chris, and I don't believe I've ever been able to do that. I've tried it many times before. So I'll give it to Jose Iglesias here.
I'm at the point now in life where there's a specific way you have to get off the floor. It will happen to you. Don't laugh, because it will happen to you. It's like elbow down, lifting your hips off slowly.
Like a Turkish get-up, kind of.
You kind of roll over to your knees a little bit, and then you're looking for something to brace yourself on that's like 3 feet off the floor. It is a full project. It's not easy, bro. Just saying. Why are you looking at me funny?
I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to make it a goal for this season. What do you call that? Like a back spring or something?
I guess.
I'm going to try it.
It is. You have to video it.
I got to figure some stuff out, but yeah, I'll give it a go.
You can't not video it.
I'm at that point now, Chris. Maybe this is a midlife crisis or something. Like, I feel like, yeah, I got to like do things now because I know what you're talking about. Like, Father Time catches up with everybody. Like, I talked to you, like, is this my last time to get like ripped? Is it my last time to be able to get off the floor like that? Like, I don't know.
No. You're still you're built. You're still good for a few more years, I would say. I'm trying, by the way. I am down 12 pounds.
You look great.
No, don't say that, because when you said I look great, I was the heaviest I ever was. So now I'm 12 pounds less than that, and I'm still trying. I've got like
maybe
20.
I'm not superficial, Chris. Maybe I just like you for who you are.
No, it's not that either, because I've seen the comments. I've seen that too.
Oh, boy.
All right. We are back at it again on Friday. Not a big schedule, but still enjoy your baseball on Thursday, and then we'll set you up for a huge weekend. There's a bunch more home openers that are happening. You'll have the Dodgers and the Phillies, which I think could be a whole lot of fun in Philadelphia on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our amazing intern, Sawyer, who I'm sure will hit the GQ stand somewhere near you in the near future. That is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday here on Baseball Today.